be? It turns out it's Cursed Hollow, chosen not at all by the team I thought was going to pick it, though I did expect Freedom to probably pick first pick here. They did. Team 12 picks Cursed Hollow, a classic ban for this team, but they showed us some new priorities for maps this series.
You know what their record is on Cursed Hollow?
What's that?
0-0.
Yep.
They haven't played it. They have not played it, but that's what happens in a 5-game series. Eventually maps start to open up, things that weren't banned or normally you would ban all of a sudden become, all right, well, we've got this working for us, so we got to make it happen. It does favor Freedom in terms of the way that they like to play, but Space Station came out game number 1 last night and was like, look, I know you want to do this. We're just going to heavy invade. Let's see if Team 12 paid attention and took notes last night.
Oh, I think they did. What a way to close out the series, right? You've just started that possible reverse sweep. You've put some doubt into the minds of Team Freedom after Team Freedom lose to Space Station, and then the cherry on top, the icing on the cake, you pick Cursed Hollow, where that scary, horrible upset started for Team Freedom yesterday. I'd say that's a pretty big something, call out, whatever you want to call it. Team 12, I like it.
Can we just call a something a something?
A something. It's a something.
Well, the Abathur play obviously strong on Cursed Hollow, and it looks like Team 12 knows that Freedom does have that priority. And because Freedom does get 3 picks before the second ban phase, probably looking to take that out here. We'll caution them though, because Genji still is a threat when we look at Team Freedom, and this map I think more so than the last.
Absolutely. Like Towers of Doom, we saw how much he can do rotating around, looking to see any sore points for Team 12 and see where he can maybe help get a pick on someone who gets left in the lane while people are off getting the mercenary camps.
Do we get ourselves a Dahaka this game? I mean, I feel like he hasn't quite fit in. I feel like if there's ever going to be a battleground where either of these teams would have a preference towards it, I feel like this would be it.
Yeah, for these teams, trying to deal with some of those big heroics, we've seen now the Tyrael ban, but we have seen teams use things like Gorge for Team Freedom, but also isolation is something important to keep in mind. And having the global here would come in very handy for a team. Just depends though. Abathur is one of those globals is gone. We got a false stat in the last game. It worked out well for Team 12, even with a wind tunnel pick.
Falstad, just that frontline control with Falstad Hanzo on the backside for Team 12, it seemed to just start to rip through late game. As Seasoned Marksman came up, you had the sharpened arrows at 7 for Hanzo and the Giant Killer. It was ripping through frontline health bars, forced out a lot of aggressive. Hey, first pick Dahaka. Just that's one way to answer that question.
Ooh. Team 12 haven't shown a lot of Hanzo favor like we talked about. They also haven't played very much Genji. I believe the last time Team 12 got Genji, we saw the role swap. Goku playing Genji and Kira on Dahaka. There might be something to this. There might be that Team Freedom doesn't have to worry about this, but especially with having still Greymane up, Hanzo up, and Genji, they are like to get one of those.
I think Greymane.
So in this case, they can just get the Dahaka first.
I think Greymane is going to have higher priority for Team 12 over the Genji.
Oh, yeah.
Over the Hanzo. Hanzo, maybe, I would say if you're going to... I like it on Cursed Hollow, right? I mean, a lot of structure, a lot of terrain to bounce it off of. A lot of bosses, you know. But see if they're willing to commit to it. I think it's Hanzo or Greymane.
Uther Hanzo.
Every death comes honor. With honor, redemption.
All right, so if Team Freedom get Genji now, they won't have the Genji Uther pairing. Space Station versus Team Freedom themselves prove that you don't have to have the Uther to make a Genji work, but it is nice to have, for sure. But there's a lot of synergy opening up with that already with the Dahaka. You talk about a drag, swift strike through. Nasmus Lutano slicing people up together. It sounded way worse than I meant to say.
Just
the butchers of HGC, apparently.
Did you say...
Nope.
Butcher?
No. Yes. Gosh.
Love me some butchering.
We know.
Love him.
The world knows.
I just don't think he's anywhere near being viable.
I don't think that this is the game to bust him out if you want to try that. Way too much is on the line here. Ah, ETC Genji. Giving another one of those synergies to go along with the Genji.
I think if I'm Team 12, I'm banning Kerosene. And the reason being is that you could have ETC stage dive, you have that second global, Dahaka global. Dahaka's always willing to come in from the backside. ETC willing to dive in to the back line. Genji, oh, by the way, likes to dive into the back line. Kerosene would complement a heavy dive style. So would Greymane if it ends up making it through. Obviously, seeing Hanzo, Greymane not as likely. So if I'm on the side of Team 12, I might be more afraid of a Kerosene coming in as opposed to a Greymane.
They still feel the Greymane. What are we going to see played by Dansky here? There's a lot of options for Uther, only having Uther Hanzo.
If they're afraid of the heavy dive, likely a Tychus.
Yeah.
Give you that control, give you the armor potential that you need, Odin potential, and survive some of the dive, and allowing the Divine Shield to go over to something like a Hanzo, or maybe go down the Li Ming route.
Yeah, there has not been a Dansky Li Ming yet. But the poke she provides around the tributes is really nice, trying to slow things down there. Similarly, Genji will be doing wonders for Freedom in that regard. Ah, Blaze ban from Team Freedom. They've had enough.
And technically, ETC puts a big target on the ground. You know when he's landing, just charge directly into it and see what happens.
Yeah, the Blaze Arthas synergy last game too. That's so much slow. Way too much control over a pretty large area between Frozen Tempest and the oil spells. So I don't blame them.
You could go down the Tassadar route here. You could easily
Yeah,
go down
I
the
was
Tassadar
wondering.
route, but I feel like Tychus might be a bit safer for them. Tychus could easily go over to the side of Freedom as well if it's not taken here. I just like the survivability you get from Tychus. You know the dive's coming. He can survive probably as well as any ranged assassin goes, maybe outside of Greymane, but probably more than Greymane because of the armor. We'll see.
I wondered if they're just going to false start again. Gives them a global to keep up. He's got to be cautious with Team Freedom. ETC, Dahaka with drags. Genji's going to show up looking for those Falstad kills. Caution for our Falstad player, probably Dansky again.
He needs to have the same caution that Goku had on Infernal Shrines, where it's okay to just stay back in your lane. The Falstad pickup is okay. I mean, you can always gust people away. You can try and survive with barrel roll. You can fly in and out, take care of the global to deal with that. The Arthas pickup, you know, we haven't seen a lot of Lunara. There's not a lot of threat towards Lunara if you wanted to go down that. Lunara, despite the auto attack, Arthas having physical armor, does well with the poison. And Arthas has no mobility. So you can just kind of casually poke him down and control that front line with a Lunara if they do go down that route. Feel Tychus, though, probably a little bit high priority.
Team 12 has left that solo up. So for Freedom, they need to try to anticipate what's going to happen there. They'll get Malthael, Lucio. Man, that was another one I was wondering. Would we see Team Freedom be willing to venture into kind of uncharted territory for them, right? The old triple melee, triple double tank melee assassin. They do. They have Malthael and Lucio. We've seen it once before from them with Yoda switching back into an old role.
Could they potentially just go Anubarak here? Keep Goku on Arthas and Anubarak just kind of isolate either Lucio or Malthael?
They've got Gus to help with that too. But it's going to be tough to try to hit everybody with so much mobility. You've got Inevitable End from Malthael later on. You can keep up Swift Strike so that Genji can follow along. Stock from the side too so that he is less targetable from a good gust.
I mean, you could Johanna's safe route, Murden kind of safe. Anubarak counter Stitches shows up. Again, he does play the pseudo cocoon role. But with that much melee, do we get Putrid Bile, or will you think they learned from the first few Stitches game, maybe we just gorge one of the prime targets?
Yeah, with Gorge and Gust, I think it's going to be an isolation comp. just Gorge, get somebody, and then be able to follow that up. They've got the Hammer of Justice, Howling Blast too, so you have a lot of follow-up once you get off to the side of that too. There's some pretty good escape for Team Freedom though, right? Like they have Lucio who can try to speed people back in. Genji has his escape too with Swift Strike. So it's whether or not, right, that Team 12 is playing with the kind of synergy that we saw in the last couple of games, that they have all of the lockdown following up those Gorges. But I think that's what we're looking to see Team 12 do.
Again, I think just looking at mobility, the movement speed, as you said, Genji moving around, but most of that is going to come from the back line. It's going to come back to forward if you're on the side of Team Freedom with Genji, with ETC, and Dahaka, all looking to flank that back line. So the collapse approach onto your own back line is where Stitches has to be.
Right.
If he's 5 steps forward, that's a problem.
We're heading in to the final game of this series. Team Freedom lost 2 very fast, very difficult. So Team 12 lost 2 very fast, very difficult games, and were able to claw their way all the way back to this point. The winner of this game, if it's Freedom, guarantees Western Clash. If it's Team 12, not quite yet, but it is a welcome victory and all but does that.
I like that we're seeing the scatter shot build for Hanzo. If he had gone into auto attack, you can rest assured Block Party would have been picked up there to deal with Hanzo and Falstad auto attacks. Instead, it sends him down the Prague Rock path. So Hanzo will be able to get some of that damage out on that front line. This is going to be a very, very interesting game between these two teams. The very different drafts here, Gilly.
Some consideration on that Stitches. Ooh, okay, that wasn't the one I was wondering about. I was kind of wondering about Dampen Magic or the Slam build. But here we are seeing Chew Your Food for the increased regeneration, health, sustainability for that Stitches.
I mean, he's planning on dying a slow death to potential mouth ale as he rips through there, but that's one way to help get some of your health back.
Yeah, and this is a solo Uther who has to try to take care of everybody here for Team 12 with a lot of damage. The poisons from Malthael with that percent-based damage, the Genji too, and you've got a lot of lockdown between the Dahaka and the ETC. So in this case, having both Arthas, who has a lot of survivability, especially having Icebound Fortitude, and later on Army of the Dead, and then Stitches, what he can do, makes me interested to see what future Stitches talent choices we see.
Savor the flavor.
Oh yeah?
Savor the flavor.
Health regen.
I mean, there's a possibility it could be there. Hook's going to land onto Nasmus. His W was already down. That's why he's having a little bit of trouble getting through there. But the entire wall is down for the moment. Team 12 has not fallen back to get their Siege Giants. Of course, Tribute spawning at 3 minutes, so they'll have some time as we see Hanzo peeling off. But Team Freedom will have their Giants pushing bot lane as we see Falstad dealing with a little bit of problems there in the middle.
Yeah, Team Freedom on Cursed Hollow last time ended up having some invades with their camps, but in this case, they have eyes on. They got sort of aggressive in the lanes to make up for it, and they're using their Genji to see where Team 12 are at in the process. Those Giants are being picked up rather late compared to the Giants of Team Freedom. Now, seeing that, you saw Genji was checking out to see when the Bruisers would be coming in. We'll maybe see Hanzo rotate into those Bruisers now that he has serrated arrows at 4.
There was a potential lockdown there as ETC and Lutano kind of lurking around trying to find an opportunity just outside of vision, so they'll try and come in on the backside here. They're diving directly onto Kira.
They had the Swift Strike, but the power slide did not hit him. Now the follow-up hook pulls in Zagruk for a little extra damage. But no big deal for Team Freedom as they'll heal him on out. Tribute will be spawning in 20 seconds as Team Freedom use the Bruisers in the mid to get some damage done to those towers.
Well, Gilly, you said there's multiple bosses on this map, and Hanzo did go down the serrated arrows path, and we'll see if they try and make an early play towards that. Siege Giants getting some pretty decent value on that top lane. Nasmus used that tongue to pull the first Giant in. We'll likely try and do the same for the second. But in the meantime, first Tribute spawning here in the bottom lane.
Yeah, and Team Freedom are bringing Genji down instead of maybe going up to see if they could get that pick. The hook hits, an immediate face mount though from Zagrug, gets him time away to power slide from the follow-up crowd control. That's what we're talking about, to be able to get the damage done, to start really wrecking whoever gets hit by those hooks. They've got to make sure that they're right there and they're coordinating, talking it through. Is it the Howling Blast follow-up first? Is it Hammer of Justice into a Howling Blast? These kinds of things are so important for Team 12 now, and there's going to be a little bit of Well, a lot of stress, a lot of pressure, because this is Game 5 in a very, very important series.
Very important indeed. Zugrug's going to walk forward, making use of his level 4 talent, getting that extra knockback range. Working out for them, but Dahaka is coming in on the backside, used his essence there to try and stay alive, but the hook's going to pull him directly into that fight, Gilly.
Yeah, and he took a lot of damage from that, but the power slide saved him for the moment. They're still going to get the kill. Lutano goes in, gets the kill. Hammer of Justice, and killed as he swift strikes out. He used his deflect, but it was all for naught. 2 kills to the 1 in favor of Team Freedom, and they channel the tribute.
That was such a risky play. If he gets out of there, he's the cool guy walking away, but Buds was lurking around, still had a hammer to bring down. Things worked out definitely in favor of Team 12 there. Get the tribute, get 2 kills to 1, and give them some control in the lanes.
So that communication and coordination of the crowd control, you could already see. It wasn't after a hook, but where it was as Nasmus stalked in. Immediately Hammer of Justice, then the Howling Blast. He used his burrow to dodge out on damage, but still took a lot. And then he tried to run away using that movement speed bonus. It just wasn't quite enough, even with a great power slide to zone away Team 12 and try to save Nasmus.
Tenderizer there, making sure to control some of that front line. Basic attack, slowing the enemy movement speed by 25% for Stitches. So try and take care of some of that front line as they move in aggressively. So that's one way to help take care of that front line.
Yeah, and the amplified healing, which is going along nicely with his focus on his own self-sustain, as well as the heals that he gets when he receives them off of maybe a Holy Radiance, or maybe if he's really lucky and Buds is willing to share that, Holy Light. But now the next tribute. First was picked up by Team 12. Bud starts the channel. Scatter arrow out. Zugrug goes in, takes a stun to the face to stop, but Nasmus for the deep flank.
He
Goku
comes in. The cleanse is there. Goku might survive this, but he's in trouble. Falstad has finally made his way up. No hook over the wall. I mean, the thing is that Dahaka forced out the natural agility from Hanzo, and it left him without damage there.
That Howling Blast hit so many people. Think what it's going to be like later on with Shattered Armor, having that huge armor reduction on so many people. But for now, we're still at 9-9. Team 12 slightly closer to heroic abilities as Team Freedom splits them out, justing away from the team. We got a drag hitting Goku. Turns around. Now he's away from the rest of the team too. Team Freedom have done a pretty good job splitting Team 12 in half.
They've done a really good job. On the mini-map, you can see the fort dropping in the mid, which could likely give 10 over to Team 12.
Oh, man.
So Team Freedom has to drop out.
That is frustrating for Team Freedom. They had more of the focus on the earlier Bruiser camp. They did try to push in, and they got towers from that, but the long push in favor of Team 12. Now they might lose Nasmus as the long-range Dragon's Arrow, and the rest of the team take out Dahaka.
Going boss. Time to make use of this build. If you're going to go this build, you might as well get value out of it, and that's exactly what they're doing. The boss is going to be ripped through. Dahaka.
He's going to be back in
Team
7.
Freedom,
yeah, Freedom's just going to go to the other boss. They know exactly where Team 12 is at.
That's why Arthas is peeling off early. They're going to leave Falstad there to finish that off. He's the last one. He has the global. Good coordination here. There's not a lot in terms of race potential, not a lot of burst damage. Arthas might make it down here in time. Hanzo and team taking a very different route, but Dahaka is going to come in. Army popped instantly, but the isolation's hit.
He's still going to get on this point. He gets knocked back again from Zugrug, but Goku is marching forward. He's getting on the point, and now we've got a lot going on very quickly. The Gorge trying to help, getting Malthael off the point as Lutano goes in. Dragon Blade, fish in a barrel. Team 12 taking damage from that area. Dragon Blade, Goku falls, the boss taken. Team Freedom gets that boss, and they needed it. That would have been colossally bad for them if they lost that.
Lutano using that timely swift strike there, Gilly, was so strong. And now if you're Team Freedom, you do get a tribute out of this. You give up a little bit in terms of the fort wall, but Team 12 in a very fortunate position still having this fort. They'll be able to fall back, defend this a little bit softly, but they're going in looking for more. Lutano going in aggressively.
J-How, I got so scared when I saw Goku be able to make it through the ISO, he was still marching onto the point, had an army out trying to get the heal, even though with isolation, it's trying to stop him from even getting to that. But with a Gorge from Stitches, a Gust too, I was terrified that Team Freedom would lose that boss. A double boss lost there with a tribute behind that. We're looking at near irrecoverable. Team Freedom, though, they salvage the situation. They get that boss. They take out the bot fort. They're still behind one tribute, and they're still caught up in experience, so they can fight for this one.
Dahaka is side soaking. Falstad used his barrel roll over. We saw at the top left of the screen. He's trying to keep up with the experience while Stitches moves down to try and keep control. He's going to look for that hook. You can see Buds just hanging out around him, looking to drop that hammer on anybody that potentially gets picked up.
This is scary for Team Freedom. If they lose this team fight handily, a lot of people and Team 12 get a curse off of this. The positioning is Team 12 favored. We haven't seen Dahaka make moves to stock down. There's the stock right in behind. As Zagros goes in with a power slide. He knocks Justin away. Yoda getting on the back line. The Gust does not catch him. So a Gorge has to stage dive on top of the back line, and a Divine Shield is forced out with a sound barrier. A Dragon Blade. Uther goes down.
Uther goes down. Goku in the middle of that. The isolation is going to hit onto him. Uther trying to keep him alive with the Ghost heals. He's alive for the moment. I'm not sure if it's going to last longer, but the hook over onto Zugrug has put him in a bad position. He does have his power slide out. However, Hanzo was taken care of in that back line by, I believe, Lutano.
Yeah, Lutano got that kill there. Very good play from Team Freedom. They sort of procced the Bruisers along with that too, but having the stage dive on the back line forced out that Divine Shield, and with Uther getting low, he wanted to make sure he had the Divine Shield out. Got the save for a bit on Hanzo, but in the end, Lutano got that kill. Team Freedom have sort of taken the ball, and they're running with it in this game. They've tied up in tributes, and now they're starting to climb ahead in experience.
You can definitely feel the momentum shift.
Yes.
Freedom seems to be taking control of this, but it's still a very even game. There's slight experience lead in favor of Freedom. All things considered, it's even. But as much as that last tribute was in favor of Team 12, this time a little bit more favorable in terms of map positioning there for Team Freedom.
And Freedom knew that they stole the Bruisers away. They're going to wait this out as long as they can. So if the Bruisers will be pushing in the mid, maybe try to pull some of Team 12 down to defend versus that. But Team 12 start the setup. They're going to make sure that they get 13-2. They'll have the Giants in that top lane, which is nice. There's no fort there. So that can push that lane out really far. Even if they lose this curse, it makes that top lane less of an issue.
Dahaka's also going to push middle with the Night Camp that's there. Hook's going to miss. See who blinks first here. Yoda just trying to find an opportunity to get on that back line. Unable to do so. The Sonic Arrow's out, but there is a huge flank coming from the bottom left here. It's going to be sniffed out by Team 12.
Yeah, that's a giant flank, a giant separation, and Team 12 will drive a wedge through. Hook, Gorge, it's on Nasmus. On that Dahaka, stage dive in. Nasmus is going to burrow, which buys some time. Now, the members of Team Freedom are turning that split around. It's Goku who's in danger, using the Icebound Fortitude, using the Army of the Dead to stay alive. Tormented Souls, Yoda getting in, finding more. Sound Barrier, giving him more to go with. As we see Lutano hoping for a kill. The hook goes out. Nobody from Freedom grabbed. Freedom using those Bruisers as best they can to keep this position manipulated.
We've got to re-engage. The Dragon Arrow missed onto Lutano as he's snuck out of there. Goku gets into position, but Nasmus, again, still on the backside. Zugrug coming in from the front. They are pinched in here. Team 12 in trouble.
Dragon Blade is still up if Lutano starts to weather down some of the teammates of Team 12. But Malthael's gone now, and he's the one who's doing the withering. Lutano gets to the back, does some damage to Dansky, but Freedom are on the retreat, on the run, as Kier gets knocked back.
They can't
afford
to
lose.
lose
The final
anything.
shot takes out ETC, 2 kills.
Boss is up. The boss just spawned right as that went down. Now we're looking at boss curse play here in favor of Team 12. The timing couldn't be more right for Team 12 and be more wrong for Team Freedom. They're going to have a boss. Remember, the boss before opened up that keep wall. It's up to Team 12 to try and get a keep down, take control of this battleground, and this is their opportunity.
And those Giants that they had in that top lane the whole time were pushing, it did a number to that keep.
They might try and end Gilly.
They're going to try to go straight for this keep, at least take that out and see if they can get more. 3 seconds until ETC's back. What do Team Freedom do?
They've got to hold. They've got to
Nasmus.
potentially take a fight. Gorge is going to be used. They have the Gust. Let's see if they use it. The Dragon Arrow has missed, but we've got the stage dive coming in. He slides directly over. Divine Shield had to be used to try and keep Hanzo alive, who has used his natural agility over. The Sound Barrier out as well, and Team Freedom starting to take the fight to Team 12.
Lutano is pushed back. Dansky far, far away from the rest of this fight, but this whole time, that was a boss that was doing all the work that was necessary for Team 12. It took out the keep. Goku in sort of a strange location as he was trying to run away from the team, but he is a survivable Arthas, and as the rest of the team joins up, he'll be just fine as Kier uses the agility back over the wall. Team 12, they still want this J-How.
They still want it. 80% and falling is the
16.
core. It's going down the boss. Let's see if he gets the stun in. The stun onto Malthael, but Kier under so much pressure. Kier's actually going to fall here. 30% and falling. This should be do it. Team 12, they're trying to take it down. 10% and falling. Team Freedom, can they hold? 6%, 5. Justin, all he's got to do is get one more
1%.
auto attack. He gets it. Justin takes the core down, and the reverse sweep has come in here for Team 12.
Holy moly.
Wow.
That game escalated quickly. They did it! Those first 2 games, I thought there was no way Team 12 did that. No offense to Team 12, but those 2 games were so dominant. They were early victories, they were decisive victories for Freedom. But Team 12, they didn't give up. They used that break, they came back in, they fired up, they changed their drafting, they got more aggressive, and they carried it through for a win. That was so needed for them. They're the ones who had lost to Tempo and to Heroes Heart. They needed that win, guys.
The amount of pressure on all of those players showed, because right before that, Hanzo jumped over the wall, landed right on top of Buds. Buds accidentally heals himself at that moment. Cure did not receive the healing to start that fight. Malthael used his self-cleanse to try and make it past the boss stun as he popped Tormented Souls, got stuck in there. The pressure mounts in these moments. I mean, that is such a crucial moment, but then you look at all the plays that were made and the way that Team Freedom is able to defend all the way up until the end. But Team 12, 1% left as Stitches is so close to dying, gets the last auto attack in and ends the game.
So as far as qualifying for the Western Clash, that means we still have no NA teams that have qualified yet. Team 12, Team Freedom, they're very close, both of them. But it kind of comes down to outside factors for them to qualify this weekend. Remember, every team has one more match next weekend. It's the final weekend of Part 1. So there's still possibilities there. Tempo Storm, they could be the first team to qualify because we've still got another match to go today even as they take on LFM. But Team 12, that was a hugely important victory for them over Team Freedom. Team Freedom, it's unfortunate for them. They had 2 chances to qualify this weekend, but they're absolutely not out of it, especially with how well they have been playing for this entire part.
It's just been a treat, I think, to watch North America this year. It's just everybody's leveled up their play. The top of North America, depending on who you talk to, actually, or in Snitch's interview earlier, post the Dignitas victory, he's talking about how North America has threats, and everybody has seen the top of the line of North America starting to rise a little bit higher than where we saw them previously, making the right macro calls, making the right team fighting calls, turning it on. Team 12 looked rough in their first 2 games, but they knew what they needed to do in the draft. They made the adjustments in the middle of the series. They came back, won 2 games, and then we had this all-out knockout, drag them out, brawl here in Game 5. You get a kill, you get the boss, counterplay instantly. Instant rotations by these teams are what's putting them at that next level right now. Just different teams. That's why it's so competitive. Nobody's undefeated anymore. And now Team Freedom has dropped 2 series here just due to the level of play that we're seeing from these teams and the back and forth. It's very fun to watch right now.
And talk about Team 12. We heard from Cure talk about the Gold Club World Championship curse of not being able to close out games. They felt like that's why they lost to Tempo Storm, even though they had in 2 games that Tempo Storm won the earlier keeps. And then Tempo were able to turn things around and end up winning to win that series. For Team Freedom, this has to be a sigh of relief that they have been able to lose those 2 games, come back, close out games, and then have that decisive game-ending moment of that final 5th game.
It's one of those things that there's so much that happens in a short period of time, and you're just like, man, I got to watch that again. I mean, they started off with the Gorge, the Gust, but then you've got ETC coming in on the backside, Hanzo dipping out, Divine Shield coming in just at the last minute. So many great counter plays. You've got this, I've got this. You've got this, I've got that. And there was just the back and forth tension of that last team fight. Could have gone either way, but Team 12 clutched it out. That was an amazing ending to an amazing series.
And leading the team into battle and to the victory in the reverse sweep, we've got to talk to Justing now. Justing, congratulations. You guys had a reverse sweep. How does it feel to take out Team Freedom here?
It feels pretty good, especially the last couple seconds on the core. Wasn't entirely sure if we were going to be able to pull it off there at the beginning. I think everyone was kind of asleep at the start. But, after the first 2 games, we had the Swift 3-0, so it was no problem.
Exactly. Yeah, you did say you were going to give us that. You just didn't talk about the 2 games before. It's fine.
Yeah, we were just waking up.
Yeah, I actually want to go back to that because it's hard to look at a team like Team Freedom. No, you go down 2 games and have to make the reverse sweep happen. So what were you guys talking about during that break? What did you do to kind of rally the team together?
We were mostly just, after the second game, it was mostly just, we felt like we maybe, I don't know, we just kind of had to, bring it together. The first game, we thought, we maybe didn't even really play that badly. It was just, they got ahead and they just snowballed it really well. They played really well. So we weren't, too upset about the first game. But after the second game, it was just, I mean, I don't know. I was saying, I'm pretty sure I've came back from 0-2 before and like reverse sweep. Like it's been done before. It wouldn't be the first time. Like that's like what I was like saying. Like as long as we just, I don't know, just wake up, that will be good. Pretty much.
Well, it seemed like you
'Cause-
did.
Yeah.
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 In that last moment on the core, we've heard Kure talk about the GCWC curse before. So what was running through your head on that core in the final game?
Well, at first we were just thinking like, oh, we got curse boss, like we should be able to end with this, but we were pretty sure that they're gonna flank. So I was trying to like position back, like to back up so that I can catch whoever comes in. Like it ended up
Right.
being the Dahaka, and then there was Genji there. So we back up, and then I see that they're kind of chasing us, and we're out. We actually lived. We somehow survived their engage. So I see the boss. It's still like full HP. I'm just like, oh, holy crap, guys! The boss is full HP. We might be able to go core. We have people like mid just chop, like I don't know, hidden stuff mid. I'm like, wait a second, we could probably do this. And then we're just like, all go core, and all just focus it, and we just barely got it. So just the core calcs, I guess.
It was a close one, but it paid off. Congratulations. I'll send you over to J-How.
Justin, congratulations, man. You and
Thank
I
you.
spoke previously, and you had alluded to in your interview, planning not just for this series, but for the long term when it comes around draft and roles and stuff like that. Do you feel this was a good start? Do you feel like this is a good first step towards accomplishing what you were referencing?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I think we tried some things at the start of the week that are definitely helped us out near the end of this this series, and definitely on the Volskaya game in particular. We worked on some things where like everyone's just being more proactive individually, I suppose is a good way to say what we're trying to work on. So in that game, it definitely paid off because like I didn't have to call like any targets or anything on Volskaya. I was just like chasing away their backline the whole time, and my team just focused the right targets down and carried me in that game. So I think what we're working on and just like everyone being more proactive is definitely paying off and starting to come out in this set near the end.
When it came to being proactive, Buds, there was no stuns on the other side. Buds was probably the most aggressive Karazim that we could possibly see. When you mentioned draft, and that's obviously a big focal point for you guys, it seems like you guys were just very patient with your drafts, the compositions, and then it seemed like you guys turned it around going into the Blaze Jaina style, getting a little bit more lockdown, getting a little bit more crowd control. Is that something you see and you feel that you have to change in the middle of a series, that you have to make those adjustments? Because it looked like you guys were very slow to start in the first two games.
Yeah, I definitely think we after like seeing what they played against us and just like how well they played it, like what we were initially thinking going into game 3 is like, do we need to take Stitches? Like, is Stitches a problem? Because the first two games we felt like we pretty much most of their picks just came from like just lazily getting hooked. Because I mean, to be fair, we don't really play against Stitches very much. So, but that was like mostly what we thought about going into it. But then like as the draft played out, we thought like, oh, this is good. Like we can deny them like their Alex, ban their Diva, like just some freedom picks. And then yeah, it was mostly I think maybe we were a little bit angry that we were down 0-2. So maybe we have to play a little more aggressive. So we get the Jaina and the Blaze in there. I think it's a bit of a switch up just because of how the series was going. I think it wasn't 100% planned or anything like that, but we adjusted for it.
You guys adapted well, man. Congratulations on your 3-0 after your 0-2.
Thank you.
Justin, congrats again, especially being able to get that reverse sweep over Team Freedom. It was an awesome series. Thank you for that. And good luck next weekend versus Space Station. And if you have any shout-outs, now's your time.
All right, thank you. Shout outs to the fans for believing in the reverse sweep dream, hopefully. Shout outs to our analyst, Milk and Cookies, and just shout outs to my team for pulling it around and not getting tilted or anything after going down 0-2 in the set. And shout outs to Freedom, I guess, for the good games, because that was fun.
It was. Thank you, Justin. Congrats again.
Thank you. See ya.
What